Hey buddies, here we are. It's the eve of the new console release, a true next generation system. Let's not open that can of worms, but we are on the eve of the next generation of graphics, if the Wii U couldn't be considered that at least. And the PS4 comes out tomorrow. Technically tonight at midnight, and we had been, let me get this announcement out of the way, we will be live tomorrow at 8 o'clock a.m. Pacific time, that is 11 o'clock Eastern time, and that is about 4 o'clock in the afternoon for those in the UK, and then the rest of the world, you're going to have to figure it out. I'm sorry, I can't remember that many time zones, but we wanted to do a midnight release hour time, but the store that funny enough, the store that we pre-ordered from was the Sony store. They can't do a midnight release, they said. They want to, but the mall won't allow them to because they're deep in the mall and they would require a bunch of security to file everybody through the mall and stuff. So we'll be getting it. They're opening early, so we're going to have it at 8 a.m. and we should have it on the show in the studio by 9 a.m. You can hang out with me until then, until the gang brings it back to me. But this way, regardless, we'll be able to do a full day of shooting, which is nice, because if we did it in the middle of the night, usually we'll only have about 2 to 3 hours of steam in us before we'd want to wrap up. However, tomorrow we will be broadcasting as long as we can. We'll have a lunch break, then we'll broadcast some more, and then we'll have supper maybe, and maybe come back for some more. I already got a couple things, though, today when I went to check out the Best Buy line, which already had 20 people in it, and they only have 100 without pre-orders. That's why I'm really not doing a midnight release. We're not waiting there for 12 hours or more. But I did pick up Knack and Killzone just in case they somehow don't have them. I know they're downloadable too, but it's one less thing to worry about tomorrow. In addition, I did pick up the PlayStation camera because it does not come bundled, unlike the Kinect on the Xbox system. And I did pick up a couple extra controllers. So I suppose what I'm going to do right now is talk about the controllers. That's what this vlog is going to be. It's going to be about the controller that I've now had some time with in my hand without a big metal arm attached to it. And I'm also going to talk about just some of my expectations for tomorrow. But let's start with the controller. That's what she looks like. This is the controller. You've seen it a million times. I have no... There's no timeliness to this. It's been out. All the real blogs out there have already reviewed it thoroughly, showed you close-ups, but here it is in my hands, in case it matters to you. And a lot of you have probably already held one of these and already have an opinion on it. I can tell you that in my hands, I think it feels more solid, and I think I like it more than the PS3 controller. So you can't really give my strong opinion on it until I've spent like a year of gaming with it, but for now, I like the feel of it. I like that the nubs are no longer convex. They have a little bit of a divot in them for your thumb, so that you don't have to worry as much about slippage off the side, similar to the Xbox 360 controller. The little pad on here, the touchpad, unlike an iPad screen or an iPhone screen, which I actually don't like, where your fingers start to, if they're moist, or if they've basically if you don't have dry fingers, I find that iPhone screens, they stick, like when you try to slide across them. This has a little bit of a texture to it. And I'm not talking about those little dots. I'm talking about just in general, the plastic feels a little more textured. And it allows a thumb to glide over it even if it isn't dry. I don't know how else to describe it. You just know how your thumb can somehow sometimes it sticks on glass. That happens to me a lot, and I don't like it. But this feels like it's not going to have that problem as much. Who knows how they're going to implement this top little thing in games. I'm very interested to see how they do. I haven't really read anything about how they do. I imagine Knack does, in some ways. Hey, look at that window. That's supposed to be the replacement for the Move. And, well, I'm not sure if does it replace it, or will the Move wand still work with the PS4? Regardless, they've got a glowy bit, and that's going to glow in accordance with the color of either the player that you're playing, or when you take damage, it might glow red, things like that. I'm interested in seeing how that works. Share button on there, of course. None of these things. Hey, I heard that this controller now works with PCs without any hassle. It used to be that you could hook up a PS3 controller to your PC with a little bit of finagling and tech magic. Nowadays, it's apparently, even Brian Provinciano, the creator of Retro City Rampage, I saw his Facebook, he posted that he's made the PC version of Retro City Rampage compatible with it already. It's apparently, I guess I could have tried that today. Too late now, I just thought of it. Anyways, apparently it hooks up to your PC, which is nice because now you hopefully will have an option with online games, Steam games. And I know that you had options before, Mad Catz and all those other brands, but when it came down to it, all of them seemed to be really designed for the Xbox 360 controller. But now it would be interesting to see if developers detect which one you're using and put in the triangle and the circle, the square and X instead of the A, B, Y, X type of setup. Home button's on there. It's very odd to me that there is no select or start. Instead, you've got the share button and the options button. But to be honest, since when did select even matter anymore? It was just, what did they even called it back for a while, didn't they? And that even didn't make sense because we all know what the back button is. It's the circle. There's a little speaker on there I see. That's probably actually the cheapest feeling part of the controller. It feels like the perforations and the sound when you glide your finger over it sounds and feels the most plasticky out of all of the controller. I don't think it's really a bad thing. It's different feeling than the rest of the controller. I'm just trying to give you every little bit of detail in case you haven't felt one of these yet. Oh, big difference too is the back, and I don't know if the camera picked this up, but the back the back plastic kind of has perforation. It's textured. Is it focusing on the controller or not? Sorry, I don't have this really set up to really show that off. But it's focusing on my face and it won't stop. Sorry. Here, I'll bring my face to you. Anyways, the back of the controller, look up pictures. It's on Google. You've seen it everywhere. It has a texture to it, which will probably feel more comfortable in long gameplay sessions, I think. But the only way to tell is by playing with it for a while. Triggers feel nice. I've always been a bigger fan of the PlayStation triggers over the Xbox triggers. I find the springs in the Xbox to be fatiguing to the pointer fingers to press over long periods of time, especially in games where you have to hold it down for a long time. I've never liked that. I do hear that an advantage the Xbox One controller has is the haptic feedback and the vibration and the click. I think there's even a click at the end of the controller. That might be a preference for a lot of people, and I could understand that. I won't know until I've played with one. But they feel nice too, to me. So that's the controller. Can't wait to use it tomorrow. Other thing I picked up was, of course, the eye, and you're actually going to watch me right now unbox it and check it out. I have to say, I love the design of the eye. I love boxy things. I always have. I've always liked sharp edges. That's why I think I really like the design of the PlayStation 4 as well. It's got like that sort of angular design. I like that look. And I just like how no longer is this thing on like a flimsy little... You remember the original eye? It has like this little... It's very light. The cord always kind of like dragged it around because it was so light. And it had sort of a flimsy little tripod or like little thing that it stuck on. Whereas this, while it is light, it somehow feels like it's going to be more solid because it's like one big base instead of just a little tiny base underneath. Let me set aside all this garbage. And I haven't even looked this up. I don't know what this is. This must be the stand. And holy crap, is it solid feeling. It's like metal kind of. And it has hinges. This isn't bendy plastic. This is metal hinges. Rounded sort of stuff. And it has rubbery feet on the bottom here. And I'm going to assume, without reading the instructions, that you do something with this, like... maybe I do need the instructions. Oh wait, no, I think this is the right way up. Oh yeah, it is. Alright, so you've got like this little spiky bit here. And then you've got this little part on here. And I'm going to assume those two go together. Let me try to figure this out. Like this. There you go. And then I guess this part bends down. I don't even know. I guess it goes like, sort of like that, and then you angle it around the way that you will. Or you could just, hope I didn't break that. I guess you could also just lay it like that, but it does still feel like it's kind of trying to fight the cord a little bit. Maybe it will require you to have it connected. The way it connects is kind of odd. It's almost like it's got buttons to verify that it's been connected to this. And it's odd that it doesn't snap in on both sides. Instead, they've provided like this little square of rubber. See that reflecty little bit of rubber in there to kind of anchor it and keep it from sliding. But I like the weight of the stand anyways. It doesn't feel like something that, well, I mean, it depends on where your cord's going. And then the cord end looks like a non-standard USB. It does at first glance it looks like USB, but then when you look at it closely, it is clearly thicker than a USB cable. I'm really sorry. I thought my camera was better at focusing on things in front of its face instead of stuff behind it. Right now it's doing it on my hand. There you go. It has to have the full frame of the camera has to be filled up for it to ignore my face. That's how hard it is to ignore me. And then, yeah, so I think this looks awesome, and I really look forward to... This is probably what I'm most excited about, and that actually transitions us well into tomorrow's expectations. What I'm excited for. Yesterday, I had a discussion with the Turbos about what they were excited for, because I was still actually kind of gauging my opinion. I wasn't sure how excited or not excited I was. I can tell you that I'm not the most excited in the world for a new console release, because I think it's the lineup. I'll start this off right now by saying that I'm more excited about the Xbox One. Despite thinking that the PS4 is probably the better system, I am more excited about the Xbox One just because of its initial lineup, mainly Dead Rising 3 and Killer Instinct. Knack, while it looks interesting, I don't think that it's something that I would be interested in for a long period of time. Who knows? Maybe the co-op's awesome. It looked cute, but cute's not always my style unless it has really great sense of humor. And I'll reserve judgment until we start playing it. But Killzone, the graphics on this look, from the footage I've looked at, beautiful, incredible in fact. Maybe not incredible, I mean, especially to a PC user, but they do look nice. They look like, maybe not a leap forward in next generation hardware, but they look like a good step up, especially with the frame rate that it apparently pushes out, which is, I hear, doesn't go much below 60 frames per second at any given time. The cases, by the way, for the new system, I don't like them as much, actually, compared to the PS3. The PS3 was a little bit more rounded, and I know that goes against what I just said about liking angular design, but there was something about the jewel cases that I really liked, that they just, these ones feel a little bit, it's hard to get across what it feels like. I think that they're closer to what Blu-ray jewel cases feel like, maybe? I don't know. I don't own any Blu-rays, really. All I can say is that the old ones feel a little bit more solid to me. Doesn't matter. Now they're very definitely got a blue color to them. Hey, it comes with a 7-day trial for PlayStation Plus, which is nice since it's now mandatory that you pay for it. The discs themselves feel pretty much the exact same as the PS3. Maybe a little less rounded on the edges. Doesn't matter. Same color on the back. And that's that. Anyway, my expectations for tomorrow. I'm most excited, I think, about the Playroom, just to see how the new Eye works. Does it stack up to the Kinect? Won't be able to know if it stacks up to the new Kinect until next week, but does it feel like the old Kinect? Does it feel better than the old Kinect? Remember that this can, now with two cameras, kind of, unlike the old PlayStation Eye, I guess this is the PlayStation What are they calling this? They're calling it the PlayStation Camera now. They're not calling it the Eye, even though it's technically, they could have called it the PlayStation Eyes. But it used stereoscopic vision instead of the infrared blasting that the Kinect uses to see depth. And how well it does that will be very interesting to see. But there are apparently two, are they 720p cameras or are they 1080p cameras? It doesn't really matter that much, especially when you're just dealing with a camera attached to your friggin' device. But it will be nice to see better quality images coming out of cameras on gaming systems, because they have been abysmal till now. Maybe they still are. We'll know tomorrow. Other things I'm excited for, yes, I'm excited for Killzone to see how it looks. I want it to wow me with the graphics. Knack, looking forward to the co-op. I guess the other thing, it's funny because the games actually take a far second place to the actual derping around with the system. I'm interested in how the user interface works, how the share button works, how broadcasting works, the social features, you know, how it connects to your friends. I'm interested in getting 1,000+ turbos into my friend list and seeing how that works out. I hope that it shares the same friends list as your PS3 so that I don't have to do too much extra work adding people. And that brings up another thing. How does the friends list on the PS3 relate to the PS4? Will the PS3 friend list now have a maximum of 2,000 friends? Since if they have a shared friend list, that if it is true that they have a shared friend list, which I don't know, I didn't look it up, yeah, they're going to have to increase the friend list on the PS3. I'm interested to see how that works out. Because I want to get as many of our turbos on my friend list as possible, especially for trying out these new features with how, you know, watching people's live gameplay, because it apparently all appears on this one big dashboard, kind of like your own page or hub for your friends. People can join in and spectate you, commentate, they can take over. I remember this from the watching. Can they're supposed to be able to take over and play for you to show you how to do something. I don't think that that's probably a feature that's available on day one, but I seem to remember that in some of the demos. I just remembered that when they were demonstrating like how it works and people like showing actors doing it. And that I'm kind of interested in too. That could be neat. Nothing that I would ever use, but it is interesting. And then streaming to the Vita, which reminds me, I've got to update my Vita to make sure that on day one it's ready to stream gameplay to the Vita to see how that feature works. And in addition to that, I've heard about this PlayStation app that is on smartphones and tablets that can also control your PlayStation, so I'm going to want to be able to test that on the iPad, and maybe even the iPhone as well. So I have a lot of work to do tonight to set up for the show. Tomorrow on the show, I know that I want to keep the PlayStation front row and center, or well, maybe not center, to the right, I'll be center. PlayStation on my right, underneath Baby Hank, and I'm going to have it on screen at all times. So that when it fucks up, you'll be able to see all the glowing that happens on the system. Now that brings me to my next topic, what I'm worried about. I've heard that IGN, Kotaku, Taco Bell winners, and what was the other one? Play the Future First winners, contest winners who got early systems, including some other reviewers besides IGN and Kotaku, have had their systems not working and had them replaced. At least IGN and Kotaku got theirs replaced because they're reviewers, but the poor bastards who won contests are sitting there with brick systems. The anecdotal statistics point to a very bad situation, because it seems like when it hits IGN and Kotaku, it's like, Jesus, it must be like half the systems that are bricking. I know that they don't represent half of journalists, but it feels like a very bad ratio considering the amount of pre-release systems that are probably out there so far. So I am worried. From Sony themselves, they aren't an impartial source of the statistics, but they claim that it's less than 0.02% of systems. So 1 in every 20,000 systems will have this problem of bricking. When I say bricking, it means that in actuality they haven't been. Some people have been able to fix this. It seems like it's turned into a brick. It glows and you don't get any video out. But somebody has found that despite people's assumption that it was an HDMI output problem, in fact, it had something to do with the system just not putting out video, nothing to do with the port itself. And some people have been able to fix it by taking out the hard drive, booting up the system, which when it doesn't have a hard drive in it, forces it to go into safe mode. Then you shut off the system, you put in a hard drive, turn it back on, and it continues to be in safe mode, and then it formats the hard drive or reinstalls the firmware, and then it's good to go. If that's definitely a fix or not, that it's kind of annoying that someone might have to do that. It's unacceptable that a consumer would have to do that. On the good side is the PlayStation 3 from Sony's teardown videos that they posted looks remarkably easy to take apart and replace the hard drive, or rather to swap the hard drive or take it out temporarily. At the same time, like I said, that's unacceptable. It shouldn't be. I hope that if, all it takes is like a very simple firmware update, which I've heard even Best Buy's been sending out email warnings to their pre-order customers to download the 1.5 update and install it before you start using your PlayStation. We will do that. We shouldn't be required to do that to prevent a bricking, but I'm going to do that to hope that our day goes smoothly, because it's in our best interest to just show the system off. But do know that I am not an apologist for Sony, and I do not accept that these things are happening to day one people. I know that these things do happen with a first generation of hardware, but it doesn't make it any. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't count a mark against them for this. For all the lumps that my Xbox has taken, we have to point out the foul plays when they happen, and it looks like there are some first-run issues. Hope that we don't run into them. That sums that up. So tomorrow, once again, 8 o'clock a.m. Pacific, we're going live with our PlayStation 4 unveiling. I'm hoping to get the whole gang of guys here for it. We might not be able to get Deacon, unfortunately, because he does have a job